we turn the program over to Cliff, and he'll tell his story. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for this process we have been going through to get here today. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share my NDE and my process, and see how the connection in this short time will be for us. So I am an experiencer as a child. I was 4 years old, and I drowned in a pool. So the first I want to start with saying, like, when you're 4 years old, you really don't have an identity. So I don't know who I was before I had my experience, because I was still a child. And I also have a first memory when I was very small. I remember I was still in. My mom was pulling me in the wagon. Sometimes I have problem with the words because I'm from Sweden. So if I don't get all the words, I'm sorry. But I will try my best. And I remember hearing music. I was still at the lying age. I was still laying down, so I could not sit. And I remember hearing music. So I have a lot of early memories as a child. And so music is also something has been very important to me through my life. To start, I wanted us to do a little what's it called? A little thing together. Well, I want everybody to take their hand like this and close their eyes. And when you close I'm going to tell you, you're going to do this for like 1 minute. And you're going to squeeze and close your eyes and squeeze as hard as you can to feel the pain. And just sit with that pain. So starting from now, we will take 1 minute and you will squeeze so you can feel the experience of giving yourself pain just as much as you self can experience. And just hold it like that. Enough pressure to feel it. And now, when you let go, you still close your eyes and you feel what happens when you let go. How does that feel? So what I wanted to do with that is to feel that's an experience. And when we put pressure on something to feel something, we know that we exist, because pain is something that we know, that we exist. In my experience, no happened because it was as real as what we did just now, and even more real than that, because it was a real experience for me. And that has really echoed to my life. And took me 40 years to start sharing my experience. But I carried with me in so many ways. I had a lot of loneliness in my life because I really wanted that same kind of experience and contact in my daily life. And as I saw it was lacking in my relationships. And I really didn't get that connection that I wanted, especially in a partnership. So I just want to start with that. And so I'm going to shortly present my experience. So my father was together with a woman who had her own island. And we were living, and that was like in the south of Sweden. So we went there, and you had to go by a boat to get over there. So it was me and my big brother, who's just 1.5 years older than me. And we were running around on this island and enjoying ourselves. The first day we came, this woman had built Lego, a big table full of Lego, a whole city of Lego. We would play there. We had a pool, and around the corner there was a little wood, a little bit of forest that we would go in, and we would fantasize that there was a witch living in this forest. I remember, and she had 2 dogs. And one day I was close to the pool, and I did not. And what I remember is like I was there by myself, and I was playing with the water, and I wanted to save an insect that I saw had fell into the water and was fighting for its life. So I grabbed my hand down to pick it up. But the funny thing is, I fell in. And I fell in at the same time I felt like I got a little of a push. So I fell in the water, and I could not swim. I was 4 years old, and I haven't learned to swim. So I really fought for my life for a long time. It felt like forever, because I was so full of panic and hysteric because I didn't know how to swim, and it was too deep. And I could feel how my mouth was filled by bubbles, and how I could not get air. I could not grab air no matter what I did. And in the process, I was really like more and more just giving up. I really felt like I was fighting. I felt like my body was like, my arms couldn't, I didn't have no more energy to do anything. So I would just, in that moment when there was nothing more to do, I heard a voice, a male voice that said, "Ye up," which means to give up, let go. And it was a very beautiful voice. It was a voice full of trust. And that's what happened. After I heard that sound, my body and whatever happened, it just let go. And it was like, poof. I was in another space. And this space was blue. It was blueness, a void of blue, like everywhere. Everything was blue. And at the moment, I noticed that I was just experiencing this space, like I was just one in this experience. And very quickly, I noticed a light. And from this light, well, directly when just like I heard a voice, directly when I saw the light, and I was in the light, and I was part of the light. And this experience is so, so beautiful. And it's fullness of well-being and trust and love. And when I was in experience, I could feel like I did not know where the light started or where the light ended. I could just feel that I was a separate part. At the same time, I was not separated. So I was just one with this light. And at this base, I don't have any memory of who I was and where I came from. It's like waking up from a dream, and suddenly the dream is gone. You don't remember if you even have dreamt. So for me, there was no more cliff. It was just me in this experience. And the thing was also, looking back now, I would also say I had total fulfillment of everything. I was totally satisfied. And I was not longing for anything anymore. There was no needs, there was no wishes, there was no thoughts. It was just total experience of being one part of the light, being the light. And it's a feeling of home and belonging without no need for those words. It's like it's a wordless place. It's a silence that is filled with so much beautiful noise, but it doesn't sound anything. and the light is so beautiful, but you can't give it a color. It's just, the color is just beautiful. And at the next moment, I don't remember how I came from this place. My brother told me once, I asked him what happened, and he said, I drowned and my father saved me, because he was a seaman, so he had to learn how to do CPR. And when I came home, this I remember, that my mother was very angry, and she would call my father, because somehow me or my brother had told my mother, and she was yelling at my father, what happened, what, like, and he was just like laughing it away. It's like, well, he's alive, isn't he? And that was the kind of dad I had. He was the funny type of dad, and because he felt the situation was, he handled the situation. And after that, the process of being in the world, well, I thought what everybody must have this kind of experience, but I was not even thinking about that. But in my world, if I experienced, probably everybody else has experienced it. That is something that I really stick with me, and it was really difficult to understand the world after that. But I have some very interesting experiences after I had my NDE. And it was this, first it was, I had this beautiful connection with my grandmother. And like, she was blind, almost blind. I would help her with everything in her home. I would help her with her brushing her teeth. She had teeth that you could take out, and I would brush them. I would help her with her diabetes, needles. So we had a really beautiful connection very early in life. And I would spend most of my time being at my grandmother's house. But one day, I think it was not so distant from this experience, that we were walking on our way home to my grandmother, and suddenly it was like the whole space around us. I remember the spot because it was very close to my school. It just started with these beautiful colors, like these heavenly colors that we can imagine. And me and my grandmother was in this beautiful connection together, this sacred, beautiful connection. So this happened not shortly after. And my grandmother was a very important person to me. So my mother was an alcoholic, and she had a lot of problems with trauma as a child. My grandmother was not a wonderful mother. She was just a wonderful grandmother to me. So there was a lot of pain connected to my grandmother and my mother. And so my mother was usually not in the best mood. So I would usually go home to my grandmother, and I would stay there a lot, because I remember I spent so much time with my grandmother. And I remember how I was starting school, and was really looking forward to starting school. And I noticed very quickly that children was not so nice to me, because I was a little bit chubby, and there was especially one girl that would pick on me a lot. It would make me very angry. And one day I would hit this girl, and then later on I was attacked by her big sister, who was like in the ninth grade. So she was like 7 years older than us, and no grown-ups did anything. So I noticed a lot in my life that this girl would keep bullying me, and no grown-up would do anything. And I was usually a very happy child. I loved food. But school became very tough for me just because of this girl and the grown-ups who didn't do anything. And I didn't understand why grown-ups would not act, and they would not see me, they would not take care of me like my grandmother did. So this was also my way of feeling, how am I connected in the world? Like, I feel like we're not connected with people. And so another thing that happened to me was also when my grandmother died. I also had a 1 year that I would dream about her every night. She would come into my dreams and she would say, "I'm not dead. I'm just somewhere else." And it would happen. And when I wake up in the morning, she would be gone. This is also something that really affected me. And this, even at school, nobody could bully me anymore because I would not care, because my grandmother was really something that really was important to me, because there was nobody else like her around me. I was really felt alone. And yeah, so my process as growing up was more and more, I felt like I was alone, like a child experiencer. I had no one to share my experience with. I had not that kind of connection. So more and more I understood, after she died, I had another experience. Not very shortly, that I would go on my way to school, and suddenly it would be apparent to me. I would be speaking to some kind of presence, and the presence, I would say, it was like aha moment, like, "Cliff, you're here alone. Life is just a test. You have to do your very best. No matter what happens, it's between you and yourself. So it's up to you." And the more and more I grew older, I knew that I had to take care of myself because my mother could not take care of me. I had to go through this process myself, growing up alone. But I had the luck that every summer they would send me to camp. And it was only camp for children who didn't have enough money, because my mother was a single parent with 3 kids. So I had a big brother and a small sister. So I would go to these camps, and it gave me a chance to be another person, a chance to connect with other people. And it also helped me that to travel was something I would do very much in the rest of my life. And and I had another strange experience during my life. And like when I was in the military, when I was around 20, had the luck to go on a boat that went around the world for 6 months. And just the year before, my mother died, and she jumped in front of a train when she was drunk. And so I was a little bit depressed, but I said to myself, "Cliff, you have this chance to travel around the world. It's up to you to manage this, even if it's a burden." But day by day, I would feel more and more like the life was gray. Food did not taste, and life had this sense of, nothing really mattered. But at the same time, I would really enjoy the process of being part of a group in the military. It was really a nice setting of people. And we were one day, I think it was like we were away for 6 months, and I think this was the third month, and we went from Buenos Aires, and we were going to Cape Town. And I really felt like, oh my God, I think I can't take this anymore. This feeling of gray inside of me. And I went up on deck, and when I came up on deck, suddenly it felt like somebody put their hands on me, like I was electrocuted from the inside. And suddenly I was back, and I had all this positivity that came back to me. That's also found very interesting, because I was never looking for spirituality in my life, because I was surrounded by my mother was into a lot of new age stuff and reading cards and talking about seeing ghosts. And she was also drunk. So I was always would look at her, and I would say, she was always like, "Oh, if I can help one person, that would be good for me, for my life." But I always thought, like, well, you should help yourself first. That I was really thinking early in my life. And also, like, my mother would be a person who would be drunk, and I would not really get connected with my mother. And the only time I would connect with my mother would be in the evenings when she was sitting drunk, and that happened mostly after my grandmother died. Then I would sit and listen to her, be sort of like her therapist for a long time. It was really the only connection we had between us. And even when I would go on these camping trips during the summer, she would not call me, "How are you? What are you feeling?" She would not visit me. All the other parents would visit their children, but I would be the one alone. And then she would write, "Oh, I miss our talks." So that was the connection pretty much that I had with my mother. So my mother died when I was 19, and continue this, like in my life, I had a lot of deja vus. It also astonished me. Like a lot of times I would feel like, this has happened before. This happened before. There's also, when every time, it's like, I think everybody has it. You talk about somebody and they shows up. That happens a lot. If I would ask for something, it would happen to me. I usually would get what I want if I would want it unselfishly, without force, like without, it's sort of like a letting go. And the word letting go, like I said before, ge upp, to give up, is something I've had all my life. Because every time I felt like I was pushing things too hard, and if I would say the word ge upp, suddenly things would happen by themselves. So this word give up is a very strong word for me. Has a very strong meaning to me. Because it always helped me not to try to push things that cannot be pushed. In my intuition, I would say is my strongest sense I have, because I'm not so much of a planner. I really go a lot with my intuitive feeling and thoughts, and it usually always works out for the best. So I don't see that I have a spirituality. But after I uh, I was in the military, I came home. There was a lot of also this depth of loss of being part of a community as you are on a ship for 6 months. And before that, we had 10 months together, this group. And I came home and I was a little bit lost and trying to find my way back to the normal life, because you get a little bit special when you're living with people in the same room for every day, doing all the things together. And then you come home and you come back to a society which is very lonely. So there was also a new adaptation I had to do. And then also my depression came back from the loss of my mother. So at this moment, I felt again like I did not have the connection to life. So what I would do was start going barefoot a lot. And that really helped me to reconnect to myself. It really helped me uh, to find myself, because I would not lose myself in some kind of drugs or alcohol. I would give myself the experience to go barefoot. Some of my friends would say that, "Cliff, you're a little bit nuts," but it really helped me to process myself. And there's a lot of things in my life that I didn't know why I did it, but it really helped me a lot, and I could stay grounded. After a short while, I would go work in Norway, and after that, I would go travel with some friends to Thailand. And when we were there, we really did not work together because they just wanted to party, which is something I didn't want to do. So I went on my own adventures. And when I came back, I took my driver's license, because I was 24 years old when I got my driver's license, because nobody in my family had driver's license. So there was a long process. And then I got the opportunity to go to India. So I went to work in India, and that was really a revelation for me, because I would be among people that everything was, you could talk about everything, could share everything with these people, because they were so curious, and spirituality would be something normal. And that really helped me. Something settled in me very, very well. Now, nowadays, it doesn't go a day I don't think about India again, because I really feel there is something special about being in India. Like I saw leopards for my first time in my life. I saw the people with no legs, and I saw life was really raw, and I enjoyed it because it was very authentic. The life in India for me was a very authentic experience. And when I came back, I went and did an anthropology studies. And I went to go to Vanuatu in Hawaii to study the life of these indigenous cultures. And I was shocked that I got a lot of good connections with the indigenous people. They really invited me into their life. And when I went to Vanuatu, I got the chance to live on an island that's called Tana, and in a small village that's called Lamakana. And we were really connected there, and I would stay for 3-4 weeks inside the huts. They gave me an own room, and we really connected. And the funny thing is that they made me the third person to become chief in the future, which will never happen because I have my life here. But it was interesting that we connected so well.
Yeah, Cliff, let me interrupt for a moment.
Yes.
We're having difficulty understanding what you're saying. I'm not sure what the solution would be. Do you have a different microphone?
Yeah.
Well, if I take is it better now?
Yeah.
Is
We
it
can
much
hear
better
him
now?
fine.
Yes.
They're saying it's much better now.
Okay, lovely. And it's much better for me too.
I love this. Now you can turn up the volume so we can hear you. No.
Thank you for interrupting me.
We won't have feedback.
Please continue.
Yeah. So when I where was I? Yeah, then I was in on these anthropology studies, and it really also connected me. What is it to be human? Because anthropology is a very interesting part of being human. Because my question was always, what's my meaning of being here? Because I could not understand why I could not be back at that experience that I have. Why I can't? I was really in my life. I've really been looking for that same kind of connection experience wherever I could find it. And I remember there was somebody quote John Lennon saying when he was in school, the teacher asked him, what you want to be when you grow up. And a lot of people said a doctor and a policeman or something, but he would say, I want to be happy. And then the teacher would say, you don't understand the question. And he would say, you don't understand the answer. And that really connects with me because I've been really like in life. It doesn't matter what I'm not going to be anything. I just want to be happy where I am at the moment and have that kind of connection to life. And so I came back with my anthropology studies. I met my wife, which I'm married, and we were together for 13 years. We have 2 children. And I love being a parent. It's one of the most beautiful things. But as a lot of near-death experiencers, but usually happens after near-death experience, that the problem of having connection. And I saw there was a lack of connection and spiritual connection with my wife, which ended up that we really had problems connecting because we really had a different way of looking at things. So she's a wonderful person in her own way, but it really didn't work. And I saw a lot of trauma from my mother was still alive. And that also, I had to process my mother through this. I understand now afterwards that we are, even if we have a near-death experience, we're still a part of life and processing life. And we go through the same process. But I told my wife about my experience, and she even gave me a book about a doctor in Sweden who had something sort of like the same thing I had. But the more and more life became all about getting the money, doing the work, go to work every day, doing the same thing. More and more, I could not do that. So I would always look for a new job. I would always look for new things. I went to education. I started philosophy and religion. And then I ended up doing drama. And drama for me is a very natural language. I find it one of the best language to talk is to talk with the body. And but anyway, I was still have this process, this longing of because I was trying. I even went up a Swedish Christian path that is called Pilgrim Path, and I did that to see if maybe some kind of this religious path can help me, because I studied religion And I really tried to see, can this help me? Philosophy didn't give me so much, but it gave me a lot of understanding of the process, the European philosophy process, how this had worked, to understand what it means in a philosophical way. But religion didn't work for me either, because I felt it was too much dogma and really hard to connect to. And but one day I was working night shifts. At the same time study, I would work night shifts with a boy who had epilepsy, and so I had to stay awake if he got these attacks. And I really felt like my this thing with my wife is not working. This parenting is not working with this person. And I started reading a book, and the book said, well, I wrote this book because I read this book, and that's what's said in the book. And so instead I said, why am I reading this book? I will read the other book that that person was referencing to. And it was a man called Marshall Rosenberg. And it really affected me, because when I studied philosophy, I would get that connection that we are needs beings. We do everything out of a need. And Marshall had the same approach, that everything we do is out of a need. And there are so many beautiful needs. Now, need for harmony, support, belonging, love, ease, choice, autonomy, spontaneity, integrity, authenticity, dignity, growth, touch, feeling safe, water, food, health. There are so many needs, like order, structure, trust, respect, healing, vitality, understanding, to be seen, empathy, and the celebration of life, and to mourn, and to leisure and play and gratitude, and to see beauty. And all these things really affected me, because he said everything is stimulated out of a need. So every feeling that we have, like if I have anger, it's probably connected to some kind of feeling that is not satisfied. Because the funny thing, as a child, after my NDE, I was very angry. I was a very angry child. I would throw myself down on the ground and yelling and screaming. And my brother and sister would always be embarrassed by me. But I would get so angry because I really felt like my mother didn't hear me. And I had a really hard with anger for a long time. But they really helped me, because Marshall Rosenberg was really like, all feelings has us connected to a need. So there was no judgment anymore about feelings. But I was still working with anger, and this new language that I got, my wife felt like I was speaking very robotically, and we really grew apart and we separated. So we had our children apart from each other. But when I still was looking for this, I did not find like NDEs like I have now. I didn't know that anybody else had it, because I could not talk to nobody. I didn't know who to talk to. And suddenly I was Googling in the dark time here in Sweden. It's very dark in November. It's the most depressing time of year. So I was sitting there and I was Googling, and I found a man called Hans Singmark, and he had made a study on near-death experiences. And I was so intrigued, and I read his study that was published in The Lancet. And I found his webpage and his number, so I called him. And then his wife answered, and then he called me back, and we had a really good talk. And he was the first person to validate my experience. And that was so giving. That was so important to me. Like, it's something just loosened in me. I felt like, I really felt touched and moved and relaxed. And then he showed me Bruce Grayson's work. So I would run to the store and get the book by Bruce Grayson. And he would speak about the after effects. And this really shocked me. a lot of those things that I read in that book it was so touching. It was so directly hit into my heart. This is what I've been looking for. I've always been looking, why am I like this? Why am I acting like this? What does all this come from? And then I really felt like, and then I found IANDS in Denmark, because he connected me to IANDS. Bruce Grayson's work connected me to IANDS, and I found IANDS in Denmark. And IANDS in Denmark, they really connected me. So I went there. We had shared meetings, online meetings, and physical meetings. And to share an experience was so healing to me. It was really affecting me. And I felt more and more this anger letting go of me that I had inside. Because I saw very early, because I was still working a lot with this NVC Marshall's work, to understand my needs and my emotions. And so when in this process of connecting to to the other experiencers, it was like we really knew what we were talking about. For the first time, I didn't have to explain myself. Everyone was like, yes, yes, yes. And it was such a relaxing place. So I felt like, yeah, I want to contribute to this. So Mette, who is the part of IANDS Denmark, connected me with Bob Copes. And Bob Copes and I decided to start up IANDS Sweden. And IANDS Sweden has now been running for like more than 2 years now, and connected to so many people around the world. In Sweden, we're a wonderful team, and it's really so giving. But at the same time, we're still working with nonviolent communication, with this empathy work. And I went away for 1 week. For 10 days, there was an intensive training with some of the best trainers in the NVC community. And the funny thing was, that shocked me, I met 6 people who hadn't had an NDE, who also felt like nonviolent communication was their kind of language. And one of these guys who had an NDE when he was 3 years old, and he was so angry. I don't mean that he was violent. He had the same kind of anger I felt I had as I was young, but he still had it. And he really acted out his anger, because there was a place where all emotion is accepted and your anger can be. So I also see that, and I met a lot of people who had near-death experience who connected to anger of not being validated. And like early, I remember having such a memory of a grown-up, and this came after I started talking about my near-death experience. I remember that feeling when somebody shushed me. Say, don't talk about it, you sound strange. Keep that to yourself. So this being shushed and like quiet, it really echoes this pain of holding this experience for myself for 40 years. So this has been a very healing process. The same thing with nonviolent communication, but the great work of IANDS, who was really supported me as a human, just to have these shared experiences with other people to talk about it and doing this process. So I felt like I just need a short break. I really felt if anybody would just want the question now, it would be nice. Otherwise, I will just refocus myself.
All right, if somebody has a question, you can unmute yourself and raise your hand, and we'll recognize you. Anybody here in the room?
I'll wait for others, but I don't.
Hema has a comment.
Yes, please.
You sit where we can see you on the camera.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Oh, those are connected. My bad. I'm sorry. Okay. Hi, Cliff.
Hello, my friend.
Sorry, I'm still in my pajamas. I'm so embarrassed. Okay. All right. First of all, thank you. I cannot thank you enough for sharing what you shared today. And I just relate so much to everything you said because I've also gone through insane traumas people cannot even begin to wrap their minds around. And I also joined the Air Force at a young age. And in fact, I ended up working undercover for OSI, Office of Special Investigations, and the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigations here in the US, before I could legally drink alcohol in this country. And I've had 3 angelic visitations this lifetime. And then since I've met up and connected with Dick here, I've had several QHHT sessions with him that have opened my channel even further, because other people may not be able to understand it, but you can, Cliff. I know you can. But I've had the 3 angelic visitations. They came to visit me, talk to me, give me a message. But in the QHHT sessions, they came through me, which is very different. It's a very different experience, and it's an expansion of consciousness because it helps, it instantaneously makes you understand by direct experience, which is something a lot of the power of direct experience. You know what it is as an NDEer, and I'm also a 3-time NDEer, really 2 times that I had memories of being on the other side and having conversations, both times with God, Goddess, Mother, Father, universal consciousness, universal mind, unconditional love, you name it, right? Abba. But I just, it was overwhelming to hear you and touch upon like when you left the military, and like I couldn't even join my buddies when they went to a bar after work. Like that was weird, I'm risking my life, and and then leaving that environment, feeling like reintegrating into society. I studied for half of 2018 at a Buddhist monastery, averaging 191 hours of meditation per month. And I studied under some great masters as well, not just at the Buddhist monastery, but elsewhere. And my walk has been very similar, has paralleled yours in many ways. And so everything you've said has been like, it's echoing within me, reverberating within me, because I've experienced very similar things. So thank you. And this is something I'm only beginning to share about in my life, really. So thank you for this, because it helps me realize there's a worth and value in my sharing this. And I wish you nothing but the very best and many blessings on your path, Cliff, because I know I sure could use them. And thank you. Again, that was it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. What was your name?
Oh, my name is, I should have started with that. I'm originally from Spain, and my name is Gemma, but in English it's pronounced Gemma. So it means gemstone. So Gemma or Gemma, whichever one you're more comfortable with. I've been comfortable with both my whole life, and I'm okay with either. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Gemma. It's nice to see that what it awakes in you. It all gives me nice to get a connection back after sharing, because I really felt like I'm a little bit shaky after sharing my own.
Me too. I'm shaking from your share.
My own process, and I really felt like I wanted to share that kind of my process from my near-death experience until now, where I'm today, and where I feel more settled and blessed where I am today. And just the gratitude of IANDS and the work of starting to share our experience, the importance of sharing with other people and be connected with people that is alive, that is possible. And the great work of like Bruce Grayson and my dear friend now, the Dr. Hans Sigmark in Sweden, who's really taking the responsibility of validating things that we don't understand, but we can see them through Pim Van Lommel's work, and we can really see that things have happened. There is very, very veridical experience, out of body experience we can't understand, but it's clear. There's something more. There's so much more than and we know what we experience. That's what I wanted to start with the pinching, because we know what we have experienced. For me, it's a knowing. It's not a belief. For me, it's very clear. I know what I have experienced. That's what I want to share. For me, it's very important that I want to be very clear. This is something I know I have experienced. It's not a dream. It's not something else. I know, and the more I've learned, the more I've seen from other child experience, thanks to PMH Atwater's work, where I can read about all the other child experiences who also have a similar path like me, not integrating, but she's lifting this, that we're compensating our whole life to live. You know, a lot of child experience may take suicide and take drug overdoses.
Cliff, I'm sorry. You're killing me here. First of all, you know PMH Atwater's last book, Aliens and the Near-Death Experience?
No, I haven't read that one.
She just published it on May 5th. I'm case study number 7 in that book. Both of my NDEs are, I'm a childhood experiencer. One was at age 6, one was at age 15. And the one at age 15 was an attempted suicide. So you are ringing my bells, buddy. Thank you. But yes, we have a lot to talk about. I would love to exchange emails or something, but thank you.
Thank you for giving me a time to connect with someone. It really helps. So now I want to continue a little bit what I have wanted to share today after my experiences. And I would like to go back to speak about our first language, the language we have before we get a language, our first language, which is the empathic language, the natural language. I see before people develop, like I went to study anthropology and I lived with people and did my field studies in anthropology, and I saw that the body language is such an important way to connect. For me, because I came to a place where I did not have the same language, and have seen the body language is such an important way to connect. So I really want to emphasize that words sometimes disconnect people more than it connects. And if we don't validate our experience between each other, how can we connect? So that's something that I wanted to share. And also in the NVC community, which I appreciate, because I met a lot of NDEers through that place, because they were all connecting to a beautiful language. And I want to lift some of these approaches. So, number 1, listen more than speaking. Asking after what's their emotions and their needs. Don't give advice. Observe without judgment or criticism. 4, express needs clearly. Express your needs clearly. Make clear requests. If you can't make a clear request, you probably won't get what you need. See the human behind the behavior. The behavior is not the person. That is culture. The next step, take responsibility for your actions and your emotions. The other thing is, have a lot of self-empathy. Even when you fail, where you really wanted to do something beautiful and it ended up in a way somebody called it wrong or bad, you did your very best. Have self-empathy. The other one, seek solutions so everybody's needs can be met. Because we're all in this together. And remember, there is no enemy. And this is what I found beautiful in this language. And all we want to do is have well-being. We all want our needs met. And we can't do that through strategies. We have to do that connection. Connection before correction. That's Marshall Rosenberg's work. And we can really get lost in advice giving, correcting other people, manipulating. And manipulating is really a beautiful action because we're trying to get something in a way we don't know how to do it. And we try to get a control of things because we lack self of influence, of security and safety and trust around us. So we're always doing something beautiful because we have lacked the instruments from the people and the surroundings, from the people around us. Everybody has done their very best with what they have. And that really what I love about this language. So that's what I wanted to say before I continue. And I would like to do another observation, if you would like to close your eyes. And if when you close your eyes, and I would like to do this for some minutes, and try to find where is your I? Where in yourself can you find me? Where is I? Where is me? Can you find it in your body? Where is it? So I will set the minutes for 2 minutes, and you see if you can find where does your I sit. Time starts now. Just close your eyes and try to look. Where do I sit in my body? Thank you so much. If anybody would like to share, if they find where the I is sitting, is located, that will be really beautiful. Okay. I love this kind of watch that we do inside, because that's where I want to say what I was experienced when I was in my near-death experience. I was very... Anybody want to say something?
Susan.
Yes.
Hi, Cliff.
Oh, hi, Susan. How are you?
Doing great. And this was very eye-opening for me because I realized during that time I don't sit in my body. I sit in the non-physical level that surrounds my body. So that's really explains a lot of things for me. And thank you for that exercise. And thank you for this. It's awesome to see you.
Oh, it's nice to see you. Yeah.
Don has something to say here in the room. Don,
Yes,
can
please.
you come up and sit in the chair where he could see you? Yeah,
Uh,
right.
Hello, my friend. What's your name?
Don Damage.
Hello, Don.
What I experience is my eye is inside the center of my forehead, like right in the middle. And I noticed when I had an out of body experience, I wanted to know what was observing it. You notice that same eye travels with you even when you're out of the body. You know?
Mm.
I've come to realize lately that that eye is actually God. And that you have to love that eye with your heart. That's the way to become Christ. So, so I practice loving that eye because I'm loving God at the same time. You know? So by doing that, I get into the space. And I mean, I do it like for 3 hours yesterday. I just sat there and loved this I, which is myself, too. And it causes an expansion where I'm not feeling like I'm in the body anymore. I'm everywhere.
Mm.
I'm all around. I'm in contact with everything when I'm in that state of, loving that I. And also, I noticed that I get communication. Like, I have a question about something, and it'll speak to me and tell me, that this is better than this, when I'm not sure about certain things. That's what started too.
Mm.
So I think it's been something I've been searching for a long time, just like you have.
Mm.
But I think I've finally found what real is, life and what you have to grow spiritually.
Mm.
And that's what I wanted to share.
Mm.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. It was really beautiful. Thank you so much. It's nice to hear. It really touches me. Yeah. So, what I also experienced, the more and more, because I saw that my anger was connected to my dignity, my need of dignity, and as much as I saw that trust was something I was looking for in a relationship, and also was looking not only for dignity, but lately I have seen it's reverence that I have, that is basically one of my most fundamental needs, to make to see the sacred things in life. And how can I do that? Well, lately I've been noticed that it's so important to be satisfied exactly where I am, and it has been really hard for me during my life to be satisfied where I am, because I felt like I would never be at home, because I would run away from home as fast as I could as a child. From my mother, I would go to my grandmother, and when my grandmother died, I didn't really like school because I felt like it wasn't a nice place. But I would be outside all day. I would be running out, playing, and enjoying myself. And as long as I stayed away from home, and I would feel like life still was a nice place to be. And so I would really lift the need for reverence in our life as something very important to look for. What is sacred to you? What is sacred to myself? And it's really important. And it can be whatever. It can be your children. It can be a place where you go. And the more you find it, the more I find it, the more I find at peace where I am. It really has helped me a lot. And I also saw that my process here and the process of getting to know Susan too, which has really also helped me to connect, to manifest sending love to myself and to others has really helped me in this process. I really want to lift that also, because Susan is doing so many beautiful things, and I really appreciate it. It really helped me on my journey, because she really took me under her wings for a while. We had a lot of sharings and sending love together, and really helped me establish a beautiful more connection with my surroundings and my daily life. So I just want to lift that and say really thank you. And I've also been looking for how can I do that? And it has to be in a way that it's not spiritual, in a way that we're looking for spirituality. It's more looking for the daily things that I'm doing right here, right now, and how much I am present. I think everybody's talking about being present. I think, and I came to the same conclusion, being present. But something also had helped me lately. I came up with this way of thinking. It's not like, what will I do with this life? Because that's one question I had a long time. What's the meaning? What am I going to do with my life? I'm thinking, if life is so easy to forget, when I was on the other side, it was so easy to forget that I was this body, that I had this identity, that I think, what can I do to remember my life? How can I live my life so I would remember it maybe until next life? That's some kind of thing I would start playing with myself. How can I live so fully so I will remember it till next life? And I see a lot of things has to do with being connected with other people. Connection is very important. So if anybody want to react on that, I would just give a short silence and space for that before I continue.
Again, it's me, Hema Gemma. I wanted to say when you were doing that last little meditation, I felt the interconnectivity immediately, because you asked where we were in our body, and there was a bird chirping right outside here. It was doing the same song over and over, and I was like, I am that bird, and that bird is me, so like, where am I in my body? I don't know, I'm everywhere. But anyway, I did want to say that when you were talking about the grounding, being barefoot, I do that all the time. And anybody can do it, but it's very helpful for regulating your biofield, because it's called forest bathing or grounding or earthing. But you are attuning to the Schumann resonance, Mother Earth's heartbeat. And we are all children of God, Goddess, but we're also children of Earth. And so doing that, like sitting on the ground, like I like to do, or being barefoot, like I like to be, it's a form of tuning to the Schumann resonance, to the Earth's heartbeat, which we can all do, because we're all intended to be beating with her as one. And that's interconnectivity planetarily, but that goes beyond, as you know. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Yama, so much.
Thank you.
So I
Any
also
further questions or comments?
Yes, otherwise I will continue.
All right, please do.
Okay, I also been thinking about what's the difference between that space and this space, being here and being there. And I've come to some things that I see is that is there and that is not here. The first thing I would say is memory. And for me, the first thing we lose, if you look at a child, in the process of a child growing up, it doesn't remember where it came from. We're always talking about where do we go when we die. But I am saying, where did we come from? Because I don't know that. I can't remember that. So the first thing we lose is the memory of where we came from. And we lose that because there are so many things happen as a child growing up. And when you learn a language, you put so much focus into embody yourself that you forget really what you wanted to say when you first came here. If you would say, because children are so beautiful, babies are the most beautiful part of life. And I have two daughters, and I would say when they were newborn, it was one of the most beautiful things I have seen. So I would say that we lose the memory of what we are. The other thing I would say, we move into darkness. Because here is darkness and there is light. For me, that is what I would say. Because the light there is not just a light. This is this fulfilling light, this all-filling light, this all-filling beauty. And I say the beauties have three substances. There is beauty, like you love just watching it. Because I was just a watcher. I was an observer, and I was an experiencer, and I was part of that. And the first thing, that everything was so beautiful. And there is a different kind of beauty, the feeling of feeling beautiful, like feeling beauty, feeling the softness of things, the kindness of things. There is a beauty of the emotion of an experience. And the other thing is the great beauty, the all-seeing, all-being beauty that I will see that substance has. It's just beauty. Because we are beauty, we're from the same kind of beauty. The other thing I would say, after this darkness, because here we are walking in the dark. We don't really know what we're going to do. We don't know why we're here, because we don't remember. And we really try to do everything we can by trusting our instincts and remembering our first language. What does my intuition say? What does my gut say? So that is really our only way to navigate here in life. If we don't have other ways, if we have more spiritual connection, I guess maybe but usually that's what I would say is the difference, which I saw coming back and growing in the space, that there is this darkness between us, this void. The darkness is kind of a void. The other one I would say is this separation. That nothing was separated there. I was a separate. I'm a separate part of the greater part, but I'm not separated. While here, I really feel like I am separated from other people. It's really hard to be really connected here. Well, there I really just felt connected. That would I would see be very clear for me, and so those four parts is what I would see is a big difference from being there. And you have all the emotions. Like there, I would not say that I could taste anything. There was no taste, and like no feel, like the body. Some things are just connected to the body. I have noticed that. What shocked me by being a parent was that all these instincts I have, which I didn't have before I got children. I was shocked how these instincts take form in us, and it's so normal that we maybe don't think about it. But it really surprised me that I would be so protective of my children, because usually I had a trouble getting angry at people. I could get angry at home with my mother, but I have really trouble getting angry with people, because I would really have hard time. People, I mean, I would be hit in a lot of things, and I would not get angry because I don't know them. We're not connected. So usually I would never get in a fight. But if somebody would want to hurt me, I would usually never do anything, because I grew up in a very tough area of Malmo where there was a lot of violence, and I had to learn to know boxing just to protect myself. But I would never get in a fight, because I usually just get friends with most of the people. So, but these instincts I recognize as being a parent. This just came from anybody. So some things are just connected to the body, and those things are not there, like fear, like guilt, like shame, like depression. And I would say like guilt and shame is like this disconnecting from our authentic self and our part of being and having influence and authority in our life. And yeah, that's something I want to share. If anybody want to reflect back, otherwise I will continue. If that awoken anything in somebody. Okay. Yeah.
Everyone is quiet here. Anyone on Zoom have anything you'd like to add? I don't see any activity here, Cliff. Go ahead.
Thank you, my friend. Okay, so like the healing part for me is has been a lot in my life that I see that freedom to be myself has been very important. And a lot of people who know me would say like I am pretty much who I am, and to find meaning has also been very important for my healing, to find what is meaning. Not meaning like I was always looking for what's the meaning of life, but now it's more like what's the meaning for me to be where I am and to do what I do. And to find joy. And I found a lot of joy in becoming a drama teacher, like play, introducing play back into my life. Play has been a very like significant part of my life. Like very early, I knew play, and I would say a lot of violence in the world is connected to play. And what I mean with that is when we're young, there is two types of children: those who can play with everybody, and those who get really angry if the play doesn't go the way they want, and they want to play alone because they got hurt. And we get so lost in our own play, and we call it job, we call it work, whatever we do, but there's no joy in it. So it becomes a work. It's not play anymore. But if we make our work play, we get the joy back. Remember, it's just a game. We're just part of a big game, and we have a choice. We always have a choice to do differently. And forgiveness, for me, I would say, is really generosity. Generosity to myself. To be generous to other people and to be generous to myself by whatever anybody did to me. I can be so generous as not taking it personally and understanding they're doing their very best and that I did my very best in that process. And another word that I really enjoy, which I felt is really connected to best. A lot of say unconditional love that I felt. Yes, I felt unconditional love. But I like another word very much. It's called well-being. And I find that word very important because feeling well-being is really feeling like a relaxation where I am and connected with other people. And there is a care and a trust among us. So that is something I would love to see more in the world, that we have more focus not on GDP, but on well-being. How can we see the world connected to well-being? And what is well-being? Yeah, it's all when as many as need as possible is satisfied. Okay. Okay. If anybody don't have anything, I will continue. Yes, please.
Please continue.
Okay. Okay. Another thing I find very fun, I usually tell the children, because I'm a teacher, and I say, try to do nothing. And the children, and I would say, I will give you $100 if you can do nothing. And they would work really hard to do nothing. And I'm saying, you're really working really hard doing nothing. You're still doing something. You're not doing nothing. So that is very interesting that we can't do nothing, which means that nothing exists. This is not a thing. you put the two words aside, it's a no thing that we're doing. So I just wanted to lift that. And I think when a lot of also violence that I see in the world is people being bored. When people are bored, they get violent because if they don't have anyone to play with, they don't have anything to do, they start getting violent. So this connected to this restlessness of doing something, just like we can't quiet our mind when we meditate. It's very difficult to quiet our mind. And I found a very beautiful a little story about lanterns, and it's about people living in the forest, and everybody has a lantern, and they walk around, and then they start being like selfish with their lantern. They don't want to share it. They just want to have their own lantern, and they keep it to themselves. One day, there is an old woman taking a child out in the forest, and they just have one lantern, and the child said, "I can't see so much with this lantern." And then the other woman lifts the other lantern and say, "Now we can see more." So what that short story would say is that we are lantern to each other. The more we are the light in the world, the more there is for us to navigate and help each other, because we're our own light. But the more we are light, I mean, when we are connected to well-being, we light up the space for each other. And
Butterfly effect.
what do you say, my friend?
The butterfly effect.
Wait till I unmute.
Oh.
Okay, I guess, yeah, I am unmuted. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said the butterfly effect.
Exactly.
When we are lanterns and we meet other lanterns and we amplify our light and we can radiate it out, and the butterfly effect is initiated. And it ripples out. See?
Yeah. So we are the light behind our eyes. What I say also, because when I experience this light, and also have really look what is it to be present for me? How can I be present where I am? And to look what is instantly happening at the moment, as this happening that I am in the moment, and not trying to force it, not trying to make something, to just live in some kind of trust that I have the capacity in the moment, that just rely on that we have so much experience inside of ourselves that we don't have to control situations. And that's what I want to go back to this, to give up in every situation. We can still plan and do things, but in the process of just this process of letting go, of giving up. And so this was basically what I wanted to share today. And if anybody has more questions or anything, it'd be lovely to share.
Right. Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dawn has something to say.
What I wanted to say was that that all experiences are neutral.
Mm.
A lot of people think that certain experiences come with emotions or negativity or fear or something, but all that stuff is you created yourself. All experiences on this plane are neutral. There's no things tied to it. And basically, you got two choices of how you respond. You either can choose love or you can choose fear. If you choose fear, you'll see your voice gets higher pitch, you get louder. These are all forms of fear. You know, you feel anxiety. So, and you color the experience with these things yourself. They don't come with the experience. Everything's neutral. So if you understand that, you can not fall into it. You know, it's very simple, you know. You fall into something, just say, you know, all experiences are neutral. If your finger gets cut off, you don't have to get scared about it and create all kinds of things. You can say, well, here it is, finger got cut off. Okay, I think I'll think about something happy now, you know. You can do that. You know, we create all these dramas and traumas and everything else by ourselves, choosing fear instead of love. If you're choosing love, you're calm, you know, friendly, you know, just, you know, you don't get into the things that when you choose fear. So that's our choice there all the time on everything. And, you know, it's all self-created.
Yeah. And it's hard to separate ourselves from our identity. It's very difficult because we don't remember when we start the identification.
Yeah, when you choose fear, it contracts the love in you, so that love doesn't work. You know? It's opposite. You know, like Jesus said, perfect love casts out all fear. You know, so they're like fear is really the big enemy. You know, fear is the evil that you're dealing with. And it all comes from that.
Yeah. But also look behind it. That I could be you, you could be me. To remember, like, I really enjoy that with the life review. When I heard about the life review, it really like so beautiful. I mean, it's so beautiful to hear about life reviews. It's one of, it's really, yeah, it's really beautiful. That to see that connection is there, that telepathic empathy. I mean, it's fantastic. It's so beautiful.
Does that sum it up for today? Any last questions or comments?
Thank you, Dan.
Very much.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you, Jack.
Not everyone gets a life review.
No, they don't.
I didn't have one either time, either
No.
NDEer. That's interesting.
Right. I'm going to sign off then. Goodbye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.